What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 22 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Archaon the Everchosen campaign. So as we saw last time, we have set upon the servants of the Conclave taking a massive battle with Village and this little undivided army that we have here against Gorth the Cruel. And this turn, Archaon will be moving to ZHARR-NAGGRUND itself and taking over the servants of the Conclave. As to whether we keep them, I think we are going to not destroy them. Here's the thing. Yes, it's a Dark Fortress. Yes, it has a Great Temple of Hashut, which is a pretty darn good landmark. +5 wins of magic power reserve, 500 income, lots of good stuff, basically. However, I still value the access to trains more than I value the, let's say 2,000, 3,000, whatever gold that we get from the additional Dark Fortress. At the end of the day, a single Fireglaive currently costs us about 50 allegiance from one of our allies, and neither one of them can even build trains at this point, and there's no guarantee that they will ever be able to. And for whatever reason, we can't seem to get access to magma cannons from these guys despite the recruitment availability. But we can see that Pig Barter, their capital, is a tier 3, meaning they may never reach tier 5 by the end of the campaign, and I do want my trains. So that's my reasoning for taking the servants of the Conclave as a vassal rather than for their Dark Fortress here. Anyway, in addition to that, we had lots of playtime with our Hell Cannons, which certainly came into their own, absolutely obliterating plenty of the dead and plenty of Chaos Dwarfs, and I'm expecting great things from them in the future as we add more Demon Engines to this particular army as well. Looks like some fun times ahead there. Now, in terms of what we gotta do now, I guess we can just jump right into the big old fight and ZHARR-NAGGRUND, I guess, after we level everybody up. So, let's start with that and let's get going. Karan the Black, you have physical resistance, and you have... I'm gonna have to go with speed first and physical resistance second, so let's do that. And we'll get the physical resistance as well. We don't really care about your spell work so much because the Chronicler and Archaon together kind of both have it covered, more or less. Retinue Physician now finally available to Gulator. Very nice. The other Gulator. I'm gonna rename you because it's starting to confuse me. And I guess we can start moving through Infernal Champion. I still do want to get Aura of Chaos and every single Lord, but at the same time, it's not a huge deal. Your melee defense is already fairly high, though I suppose Deadly Onslaught would also be... yeah, you know what, fine. Go for Blade Shield into Deadly Onslaught. And Pestilent Perseverance, which is quite nice, doesn't actually buff the rest of the army, so we can by and large ignore it. Chronicler. You, sir. You have Scouting. We don't care about Deplorably Degenerate or Enact True Change. At least we don't particularly care for them at the current time. And I still haven't decided between these, though I'm still inclined to say Spellslinger might be the best way to go, but for now we'll keep it as it is. You only have a single point, so... I'm going to say let's go for another point in Glean Magic. We may want to get Treason of Tzeentch as well, though I generally don't use it on lords other than Village. Mostly because Village gets to use it basically for free. And I'm kind of spoiled by that, but anyway. You, Harry the Hammer. You could go into War of Chaos if you wanted to. You've got most of your attacky stuff available. And nothing here really matters to us. Enemy leadership reduction. Let's get Woundmaker for you. Frankly, all the extra HP and defensive stats don't matter much for him since he's a small target and thus fairly unlikely to ever get hurt by anything. And we certainly haven't seen him get hurt by anything. Woundmaker for you, Ogrex. And lastly, Archaon, you can have... Is it finally time to start moving through your fighty tree? I think it is. I mean, yeah, we could keep upgrading Searing Doom, which we do, to be fair, use quite a bit, but I think it's time to start making Archaon into a fighter. Keep in mind that these are his stats without a single point having ever been invested into that, so he's only going to get stronger. Anyway, to ZHARR-NAGGRUND we march. Let's see what we're facing off against here. Should be some pretty solid stuff. Yeah, a hyper-elite garrison, lots of Infernal Iron Sworn, Fire Glaives, etc. Those walls should present some difficulty, and a very much elite army guarding ZHARR-NAGGRUND itself. I'm really hoping that the gates aren't screwy, because I want a big ol' cinematic battle for this one. Before we jump into it, once again, the engagement goal has been reached, so this will be an hour-long episode, and the offer does still stand. 300 likes, 50 comments, and the next episode will be an hour long as well. I imagine this episode won't take an hour long, but it'll be a big fight, so let's find out. Alrighty, here we go, ZHARR-NAGGRUND itself. We have the main map, and hey, the battle actually works this time. I think in my... I don't remember which campaign it was, but I remember the battle map for ZHARR-NAGGRUND being bugged in another campaign, but it does seem to be working this time around, which I am very, very happy with. It is a pretty fantastic looking map after all. And we definitely gotta enjoy it. Anyway, a very elite garrison stands against us, as well as a solid, very high veterancy stack. Plenty of enemy units to go around with, 3 or 4 blunderbusses and like 5 units of fire glaives, infernal iron sworn, lots of elites and demons and such, so it should be a pretty fun time. We're gonna start the battle off with the Chronicler doing his good old-fashioned missile spam, or magic missile spam. He found an iron demon, a single entity, and he's damn well gonna blow it up. There we go. And he's gonna dodge a shot from a hell cannon and not get the heck out of there, but to move around and find himself another target like that hell cannon. In the meantime, Archaon has moved into the enemy settlement. It looks like some Kadai Fireborn and a Kadai Destroyer stand against him and the Swords of Chaos, though Ograx and the rest of our heroes have joined the fray as well. Nice to see everybody working together. The kind of harmony that that Cathay can only wish for. That said, there's a lot of enemies to contend with that will probably not allow us to easily make our way through this breach, and we're going to have to slowly work our way through these piles of units. Penumbral Pendulum comes down and hits the enemy a couple of times, though this primarily damaged the enemy infantry, and not really the Kadai Fireborn. And we do have some aspiring champions that have joined the fray as well, though the magical damage is being reduced or taken away by the Lamasu's presence, which is a little bit unfortunate for us. We got to get that Lamasu out of there so that we can do magical damage, so that we can more easily deal with the Kadai Fireborn and the Kadai Destroyer. On top of that, our entire army does fire damage because of the ability of Harry the Hammer, and the problem with that is, well, Chaos Dwarfs all have quite a bit of fire resistance, so we're gonna have to deal with that. Alright, our Giants are moving in as well, and another unit of aspiring champions has joined the fray against some Chaos Warriors. Actually, by the looks of it, some blunderbusses get caught, and at least we'll be able to not take their shots to the face, so those blunderbusses are really quite strong. Looks like the Infernal Iron Sworn are chucking their grenades, but they're chucking them at the Giants, curiously enough. I don't know how effective that is, as Hegan of Hate has only taken about 1,000 damage so far. We're fighting fire with fire truly here, as we dropped some piercing bolts of burning on the piles of enemy units. Another Iron Demon has joined the fray, although it looks like the enemy Kadai Destroyer has been brought down under the press of chosen and aspiring champions. And down it goes, the body possessing the flames possessing the armor fade away, and we are still, well, fighting. Not inside the settlement, or as in we haven't really made our way truly through the breach, but we're starting to. The Lamasu did rout, but it is coming back, and we gotta target it yet again, as we do need that magical damage. There's that Ash Aura coming down, though it does seem to land upon the Knights of Tzeentch. If anybody doesn't appreciate their magics being taken away, it's probably the Tzeentchians, who very quickly bring down the Lamasu. Very nice. And just gotta make sure another one doesn't come in and join up as well. Looks like our giants are having some fun, picking up the occasional enemy Chaos, a Dwarf Warrior, and crushing them. I also saw one of these shots from the Sorcerer Prophet's pistols miss the giant. I don't know how you miss such a huge target. Ooh, and blunderbusses are taking shots at us now. And we gotta move a couple troops in before they do too much damage. These things are just ridiculously scary. Well, Archaon's on it. He's gonna peel away from that Bale Taurus and just engage the blunderbusses in combat so that they can no longer fire. Also need to see how our troops are by and large towering over the enemy troops. Well, not towering over the bull renders perhaps, but the chaos steroids make our knights almost as well. In fact, technically, they're higher. Their horns and their helmets are each higher than the bull renders are. Yeah, those chaos steroids. They're bigger. Well, sucks to be the bull renders, especially these ones as they continue to get brought down. Prince Ograx takes a nice swing at those guys and now turns to those infernal Iron Sworn. I would like to get a few of those in a couple of our armies just by virtue, or just for the sort of themes that we've got going on. I really wish we had some kind of bonus to be able to acquire more Chaos Dwarf units in Warriors of Chaos factions, like a allegiance bonus, so that you can get more of their stuff quicker, or maybe even like a sort of loan system where you can loan their units. Because I do feel like their units should be working with ours quite a bit. Not just arming them, or at least be willing to work with them. I mean, they do want laborers after all, and I'm sure we can offer them some. Anyway, looks like the Knights of Khorne are leading, well, not so much of the charge, but leading the breach here, or at least have peeled away from a giant pile of our units, but we got even the basic Chaos Knights fighting away against all those Chaos Warriors. A great thing for the Chaos Warriors is that they have, or Chaos Warriors, or Chaos Dwarfs, is that they have such insane amounts of leadership that it's going to take a while to just get them to break, especially the Infernal Iron Sworn, which basically fight to the death. We've got, for example, on this unit, currently 28 units left, about 15%, and they're still steady, despite only having 15% of their HP remaining, and the debuff from the Lord of the End Times reducing their leadership as well. So yeah, Infernal Iron Sworn are really not likely to break. I mean, between their already high leadership, plus the AI cheats, plus the fact that the settlement provides them additional leadership bonuses, hardly surprising that they're nearly ready to fight to the death. Anyway, we're trying to use our mass to get through these blunderbusses and move forward into the additional, or the other enemy units, but it's taking a little bit of effort. These guys are still... Wait, let me just see here. Are they... Okay, they're finally shaken. Down to 16 troops and about 10%, maybe less HP, and finally they're shaken, but the rest of their friends are still holding on. Knights of Khorne look to be getting plenty of work in this particular battle. I think generally speaking the Knights of Khorne are the most fragile because they have the lowest defense of the Chaos Knights. Like Nurgle and Tzeentch I think both have around 60, whereas these guys only have 48, but the Knights of Khorne always get the most damage and the most kills, which is appropriate, to be fair. Alrighty, and some Tzeentch Knights moving into the fray as well. Get their magical attacks back now that there's no Lammasu to annoy them. The Chronicler has arrived as well. He wants to be in the fray as well and fighting with the Knights, etc., and the other heroes, and not just flying overhead, though he did destroy that Hell Cannon with another spam of blue fire. He does like doing that. Ooh, and a Bale Taurus and the enemy lord arrives, or a Sorcerer Prophet arrives, and Archaon heads directly for him. And this is not going to be a good day for that Sorcerer Prophet, as he's going to get hit and lose half his HP to Archaon within the first couple of seconds. We do cast Gleam Magic on him, but I think it might have been a waste as he goes down within seconds. Unfortunate, but oh well, we still have the we still have it for 23 seconds affecting us, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, with the death of that Sorcerer Prophet, it does look like the enemy army, or at least the enemy army around the breach has broken and allowed us to move deeper into the settlement. There is another unit of Infernal Ironsworn to contend with here, but the Chaos Knights, I'm sure, will work their way through them. Just like the last one, they'll probably fight to the last. But that's the way the Warriors of Chaos like it anyway. Especially the Knights of Khorne, though I appear to have lost sight of them. And we got that summoned unit of Chaos Spawn helping out as well. Ah, I love fighting in this particular map, it just looks so glorious. I would love to defend it as well, but that's very unlikely to happen in any campaign. I guess a better way to do it would be to launch a custom battle. Anyway, Archaon has taken a pile of different types of knights with him. We got Tzeentch, Khorne, and Nurgle here, and just like last time, the Knights of Slaanesh are the ones left out and have peeled away together with the Undivided Knights. They are, however, by the looks of it, running down the enemy Infernal Ironsworn, and this unit will actually break, and by the looks of it, the entire enemy garrison is pretty much done for. We can see their leaders, or their units are shaken and army losses are there. It looks like we just need a few more charges to make sure that the rest of them fall. Couple more units to rout, though once again it will be difficult to rout the Infernal Ironsworn. And they will be the last on the field by the looks of it. And let's see, they get hit with Fascination, a little bit of extra damage onto them. They are wavering due to army losses now. And at least the army losses effect is starting to stack up to make these guys not fight to the last. It is impressive just how they can hold this massive pile of Chaos Knights, though. How much mass do they have, just out of curiosity? Mass is 250 versus, what, 500 on the Knights? I think it's 5... No, it's 1750. Okay, yeah, 500 would be a lot less. Huh, surprising. I guess with the charge, perhaps, these... But they have charge defense against all. I'd be curious to see if we could send them flying with Chaos Knights, considering how they were able to hold so many of them back. But unfortunately for them, not hold them back well enough, as it looks like these guys will shatter too. And the battle will be ours. And we can see the other units in there shattering as well, and... Ooh, I lost sight of this, well, I lost track of this unit for a second, and I thought the enemy units were no longer fighting, and this unit of Fire Glaives did arrive. This is a unit of Marauder Horse Masters. We don't care too much about them, but we do eventually want to make them into Knights. Funnily enough, this looks to be the most successful unit by far of the of the enemy army. You stop paying attention for a second, but oh well. We are going to chase them all down. At this point, I think we just need to get close to some of the units, and now they did take a charge. Okay, and then they shatter. There we go. Man, lots of everything's glowing all different colors. Very festive. Anyway, heroic victory for Archaon, which is another surprise. He rarely gets those heroic victories because of the strength of his army, but it's nice to see, and hopefully we'll get some massive fights against Vlad when we head towards the Empire. Alright, not too bad at all, a very nice brawl, all things considered. We did have to work our way through the enemy, but work our way through them we did. The biggest part of the damage taken was to the Marauder Horse Masters, and 100% because I just forgot about them, and they got hit by a few of those Fire Glaives for a few seconds. Since they can't fight in melee with the rest of the blob, there really wasn't anything to do with them, but oh well. Not a big deal. They will heal up, and it's not like we really need them for combat until they become knights. And we will also... 22k. Not bad. Not bad at all, Archie. We will subjugate these guys. There we go, very nice, very nice. A free student for Prince Ograx, I guess. See, they can learn how to axe things better. The ZHARR-NAGGRUND remains at tier 5 and will immediately build the outpost here, as that's why we're here. And, just out of curiosity, I see Dreadquakes, I see Hell Cannons, I see Iron Demon, Skullcracker, Dreadquake, more. Okay, so I see trains, but I don't see Magma Cannons. Interesting. Wait, are you telling me that it's impossible to recruit magma cannons? What the heck? Has that been anybody else's experience? Because this is the second faction now, and we can't recruit them. There may be some kind of restriction on them for some reason. For example, if you have an alliance with some of the any of the Southern Realm factions, you can't actually build basically anything above tier 2, I think. There's a restriction on nearly all Imperial units. You certainly can't build any elite Imperial units, which may be happening here, but why can we build Dreadquake trains of any kind, but we can't build... magma cannons? Are magma cannons just that OP? I mean, maybe they are, but... Still, actually, out of curiosity, are we able to build blunderbusses if we're talking about really overpowered units or overtuned units? Have blunderbusses gotten a nerf since they were introduced? I do wonder. Anyway, Warhost of ZHARR. No, we got blunderbusses. Yeah, it's just magma cannons. Literally anything but magma cannons. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Anyway, Archie, you are done here, and in fact, you can still move, which is great for you. You just need to figure out where to move you to. Move to March Stance, and I guess we're going to send you through Azag's territories and start destroying all of this stuff around here. We'll probably have to send Village and the other army down here. I was going to have Archaon take the Silver Road, but Khazid Irkulaz is going to have a bunch of full stack spawn around it. Depending on how long it takes to get those full stack spawning, either Archaon or Village, and we'll destroy them. By then, Village will have a proper full stack. He has his first Mutalith Vortex Beast. He'll have the second one shortly. Probably Papa Cockatrice in his army as well, because that debuff -15 is pretty darn crazy on those. Plus, they add poison as well. Anyway, I guess you're heading to the Silver Pinnacles, sir. We're certainly not going to keep Archaon around here while we wait for Grimgor to respawn. Kolek or somebody else can handle that once again, depending on how long it takes and where we are. Gulator, you're heading to find Azag the Slaughterer as well, but also particularly, let's say, to Middenheim. Let's stay in Raiden stands for now. And we'll hit Middenheim. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could hit Adagig, but it's barely defended anyway, so it doesn't really matter, and we could take it at any time. I'd rather start the war and then use Middenheim as a base for it. And damn, Azag is doing well. He's doing quite well indeed. Good for him. And he's earned it, I guess. Kolek, you're moving to the plains of Zenbai-Jin. We can't leave this fortress here. Especially since we have Kugath as access to Nurgle units, and this should give you a, well, decent fight if nothing else. It's a tier 4 settlement, and it's got, well, mostly just piles and piles of Nurglings, but we should still be able to enjoy the Dragon Ogres, mashing them to bits. Kuchar. I'm still on the fence about giving Kuchar the... Are you able to reach Wily Village from here with regular stance? Can't quite tell. It's sometimes buggy about the... crossing things like this. Nah, you can't reach it. Alright, fine. Well, let's go into raiding stance. Go right here. We still have to move Valmir up with the Blood Shrines. But what I was saying was, obviously we don't want Kuchar's army to be too similar to Valkia's. Valkia is going to be focused a lot on Skull Crushers and on various Cornate infantry units because she gets Vanguard deployment for them. Meaning Kuchar probably doesn't want as many. I'm also kind of on the fence about using the Sorcerer in a Cornate army. I did figure I wanted them to get the Glittering Robe in order to buff up the various doggos in some ways. I'm definitely not giving Valkia a mage. I feel like she just kills said mage. Yeah, we'll delete these 2 Marauders definitely to replace them with the Blood Shrines. We do have our second Skull Cannon. Oh, Howitzers of Hell. I was going to name you. There you go. So then he'll still have all of these Chaos Warriors. Guess we could reduce it by another one if we get rid of this one and replace it with a Sorcerer. And then we'll have 6, which is a lot more reasonable. Yeah, maybe that's not so bad, if we put the Sorcerer in there. Alternatively, we could forego the Sorcerer and... Oh, no, we can't get a Blood Shrine. We won't have the... Or no, we have Blood Shrines. We can't get a War Shrine of Khorne. I guess we could get an Undivided War Shrine via the... via the Sorcerer. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Anyway, Jaeger, you, sir, are kind of stuck at Naggrund. Thing is, we do want to take it, but we may not want to take it until the rest of these guys are done. Also, before I forget, between the episodes, I did get Valkia on the field to replace the Other Lord. I am probably actually going to keep the Other Lord and make his army into Khorne Demon army. So lots of Bloodletters, Bloodthirsters, etc. And Valkia is going to be the Chaos Warriors plus tons of Skull Crushers. So we'll get her started on that. And to do so, we gave her the Knights of the Brazen Throne. Super expensive unit, though. But I'm sure we'll get a lot of fun with them. Let's see, that is looking like it's about it for what we have to do in terms of moving around this turn. And next up, I guess we'll take Techs and we'll take the... Okay, fine. Techs are going to be Nurgle to start. We'll start with the Rotten Altar. Yeah, we'll start with Rotten Altar simply because it gives us a little bit of extra Nurgle authority, so that's upkeep reduction. And more upkeep reduction will mean more ability to... I'm just thinking maybe we should send you back to Harganath before it gets reclaimed by these guys, or just claimed by these guys. More upkeep reduction means more units and armies. Anyway, Gifts of Chaos. We need to switch to Crown of Kings briefly. I think we gotta do Carnage Incarnate one more time? Do we even need to do Carnage Incarnate? Wait. What's our Shaggoth status on Kholek here? He can get one more, which will give him to 3. Or 2 more, which will get him to 4, depending on if we want to get a War Shrine of Nurgle. I do think we'll get more mileage out of a War Shrine of Nurgle than we will out of another Shaggoth, but at the same time, we could do 4 Shaggoths and 1 Chaos, and 1 less Chaos Troll in here, so that'll still be reasonably good. It's not like this is supposed to be a Chaos Troll-focused army, after all. Maybe that's the way we do it. Yeah, alright, fine. Let's do 1 more Carnage Incarnate, then. Carnage Incarnate instead of Crown of Kings, like so. And Death's Bounty for 1 turn needs to switch to whatever is expensive. Skull Cannons... Gonna have to go with Skull Cannons. We do want Bloodletters for our new Demon army, but that'll be a little bit until we can get it up and running. The War Shrine of Khorne is nearly ready. Though useless for Valkia because then it doesn't have Vanguard deployment, so it wouldn't be able to move with her troops. If anything, we'd want Blood Shrines with Valkia's army, not War Shrines of Khorne, because the Blood Shrines are really quick, and even without Vanguard deployment, they can get into combat. But anyway, Hellforged Fury for now. And getting there. Gotta get those 2 Bloodthirsters in Valkia's army. And the rest of this looks good to me. The gifts are all done as far as I can tell. And let's just double-check Diplo. I see death. Wintertooth, yeah, you want... you want her alliances back. I did manage to cancel all the agreements with Wintertooth at this point, which is great, so that we can attack them or force them to trade or become our vassals, and depending over time. I'm hoping that they do get weakened by Tsarina Katrin while Archaon makes his way this way, though we'll have to wait and see. Skip the rest of this, unassign skill points past the glory, building upgrades, commandments. Well, we can just trade you the Veil of Woe. We don't really need to... You're gonna make us pay for it? What? Oh, right. I forgot you can't actually give the Servants of the Conclave stuff. They get angry if you try. Well, it's a little bit annoying, but at the same time, it's not like we need to anything but ZHARR-NAGGRUND itself, so it doesn't really matter. Well, you won't take the Falls of Doom either? Huh, yeah, it's bizarre. I wonder what the decision was behind that. I guess it's just so that this faction can't become strong. But it's trading. Do the AIs even trade settlements to each other? I'm not sure that they do. Well, we'll give this to somebody else. Maybe one of the other Chaos Dwarf factions. Go for Foster Cults for now. It really doesn't matter what you go for. I guess if we're moving past this, we could get some use out of Exploit Vassals. We'll see. Just repair it. It's fine. We'll trade it with some stuff in there. Outpost upgrades available, we'll ignore for now. Let's end the turn and let us proceed. Alright, we still have the battle for the Demon Blade, though Azazel is now waiting for mages, so we may want to get him his mages before he fights that, and by then, hopefully our public order will have dropped sufficiently to make the battle actually worth our time. Alrighty, Throggy, yeah, you want alliances, you want all that stuff that we just cancelled with you. Funnily enough, despite all the cancellations, minus 152 from broken treaties with him, we're still very much rising in terms of our friendliness, because we have 415 rulers' tolerance. Meaning we can certainly bully the Norskins in any way we want. Kulak, you get freebooter, great for you. Convoy ride, 3,000 gold, though it don't matter much at this stage in the game. Alright. Alright, it's a new day. First of all, we'll start with a new turn. We'll start off with getting back the Crown of Kings. I don't know whether we're fighting this turn, but we should probably do that. I don't see us ever bothering with Empowered Worship and the regular War Shrines, simply because they don't give much value. Portal Glyph is actually fairly good, so we might want to get that at some point. But for now, Crown of Kings. Yeah, the regular War Shrines can just be Chaos Sorcerers, regular Chaos Sorcerers instead. Why use a regular War Shrine when you can have a Chaos Sorcerer instead? Then we really need to get back the money one, Death's Bounty. And the Feathered Abominations needs to be replaced with the other Mutalith Vortex Beast. Like so. Meaning, Village now has both, or the two that I wanted him to have immediately. Get your second Mutalith, I guess. And do it right now, and oh, this is the expense, but whatever. Get your Mutalith and get your Cockatrice as well. Alright, certainly getting there. This will limit the amount of pink horrors we can get on the field, unfortunately, but we can also build pink horrors from allies. We don't necessarily need to rely on gifts to do that, so there is that. And pink horrors are here, right, for the gifts? Yeah, there they are. Okay, we're good, we're good. I wonder why it's regular pink horrors and not exalted pink horrors, as obviously we would prefer those in many a situation. Yeah, we may want to have some units take the place of some of these units in order to be able to get the additional pink cores on the field, because it's going to take some time to do that. How many do we get per gift? Let's just see. Is it one? Please tell me it's two. It's one, really? One per use of this? Ugh. Okay, that's going to take some time, but I guess we got to switch over and over again. Actually, we don't. Soul Grinders and Lords of Change are basically available already. Well, that's just swell. Okay. Anyway, let's start moving, Archie. You will want to go to probably the Silver Pinnacle, so let's go for ratings. Oh, you can reach the Blasted Expanse from here? I guess we could do that. You can also leech. Wait, Archie, how far can you move in March stance? Roughly as far. Oh, you're at max movement speed. You can move as far in March stance as you can in regular stance. No, well, good for you. We'll leech the XP with these two then. You go right here, in rating stance, I guess. And we'll separate the two from Archie in a little bit. Samoth, you actually need this guy to join you, but I guess he's going to take some time to travel, so you're gonna go here. And you are going to go into rating stance and go... Oh, actually. Well, we don't want to suffer attrition, so go into rating stance. You know what? We'll switch after we fight. Just so that we don't accidentally kill off a bunch of our own units. Like so, and you hit this. Oh, we're not at war with you. We are now. Declare war, go. Lovely. Alright, now we're at war with you. We take this easy. We'll send somebody from here over to the Desolation of Drakenmoor while Archie moves to the Silver Pinnacle. This is probably worth... That's basically worth nothing. In terms of sack value, just to double check, will this hurt any of our armies? Auto-resolve can screw you randomly at some times. Yeah, see? Iron Demon loses half its HP. Why? Why? Oh, whatever. Alright, occupy the place. Silly game. Okay, you're gonna go into raiding stance. We'll raid our own territory just so that we don't suffer attrition here, and I guess you two can... Ow! Actually has a stack here. I'm kind of surprised by that. Oh, but it's a stack of garbage. It's just a pile of gobos. Well, either way, village, I want to see those mutaliths in action, so let's move you down there. And I think maybe we are now able to separate these two. Send them their own merry way. They don't have to follow each other along. Before their armies were too weak, but now they're reasonably good. Anyway, Siggy, you can reach Hag Grief. Azazel, you can also reach Hag Grief, but you can then go further. Siggy's army is a little bit damaged. But we do need to take Hag Grief. I'd say there's a stack there. Well, oh, it's Malekith himself. Oh. Damn. Wait. Stop. Azazel, you have not gotten the Defeat Malekith trait, which means you don't have Frenzy, which means you would actually benefit from defeating him. You've defeated Valkia, which is a fairly decent defeat trait, but yeah, you don't have Frenzy, which Sigvald got from defeating Malekith, so we're actually going to send you here. A little bit of a waste turn-wise, as we'll still need to hit Kragroth deep, but what can you do? Go for Hag. Grief. The Hag. That's what it's known as. Alright, and what do we have in terms of defenses here? Some decent stuff. Malekith himself still on that chariot and not on Seraphon, though, so... that's his problem. Pop the war banner on... The reload is useless, Anya. Frankly, we should probably give this to one of the Tzeentch armies. In fact, I probably should take it away from you just so that I don't forget to do that. I hate how half of it is wasted otherwise like this. Speed and Strider. I do wonder, does the Sibyl Slaughtercade have... Strider? It does. And so do both of the other Chaos Chariots of Slaanesh. Okay, so that's not helpful on you. What about on you, sir? Oh, you get the Gleaming Pennant. I mean, you don't have to put it on you. But you have Strider anyway. Damn you, Ranger Standard. We do have a banner of Rage. You know what? I'm going to take a look at this later. As to who gets which ancillary, because there's going to need to be some retooling of all that anyway. Anyway, let's keep moving a little bit before we continue on our merry way. You can just not reach Middenheim, so go right beside it and get ready to strike. But keep an eye out for Azazel, or not Azazel, for Azag there. Oh wow, and Lorelorn has actually fallen to the Blackpit tribe. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Kolek, you've got a siege as well. Dungrut, sorry, but you have a territory that we must have. Got a little bit of Defenders of the Gallows Tree there as well. Kolek, you are going to attack, declare war, yes?
A perplexing concept.
Oh, like so. Ooh, Pyrrhic Victory. Huh, interesting. It's not going to kill off any of our units, but Pyrrhic Victory sounds like it might be worth the fight, and ooh, unlike the Chaos Dwarfs, we can now actually use the banner. Razor Standard is actually completely useless in Kolek's army. I should take that away from him before I forget to do that. Very nice. We should probably get him a Barbarian. He doesn't have one, yeah. We're out of Barbarians. We're Warriors of Chaos, and we're out of Barbarians. How does that happen? Kolek, you already have the banner, or you already have Perfect Vigor, so it doesn't matter. Also, how many points do you have? Just the one. But it does give you a rally, I guess. Alright. Let's start with you, shall we? And then we'll keep moving. And away we go. Alrighty, another day, another siege, though this time we'll be facing off against some enemy Nurglites. Then, well, it's probably a nice thing to occasionally do. We didn't really get to fight Kugeth all that much because he was willing to become our vassal very, very quick. So, it'll be nice to see a little bit of fighting against Nurgle, rather than only as the forces of Nurgle, as we've seen lots from Gulator. Anyway, we're heading into the settlement through the breach. Kolek and his Shaggots, who also haven't had too much time to play around as yet, but they will be mincing plenty of Nurglings here. For a second I thought those Nurglings got stuck to the Shaggots at I wonder how many Nurglings it would take to bring a single Shaggoth down. Just like, genuinely how many Nurglings it would take. I remember reading, pretty sure it was Mark of Chaos, the Ostermark Empire book, which I also played those games, which were kind of Total War-like, a little bit similar. But anyway, I remember reading the Mark of Chaos book, and I remember it describing a battle where the Nurglings were kind of just like running around and biting soldiers' feet, and I always found the description of them pretty darn funny. And the fact that they were just like, not killing them, they were just being a super big nuisance, which is appropriate. At least that's the impression I got. But I also remember thinking I was surprised that you would think that a bite from a Nurgling, or really any kind of demonic entity from Nurgle, would confer enough of enough plagues and toxins and virulent whatevers to make sure that whoever's bitten just, you know, gets an infection, definitely dies. But maybe the Nurgling's toxins are too weak? Hard to say. Anyway, Kholek has peeled away from the main formation and has headed towards a dung rut to get a nice little duel going. The enemy lord has a ton of HP, 17,500 at max, which is quite a lot compared to Kholek. I'm actually surprised that Kholek has so little. He actually has considerably less than Gulator on the War Shrine. But I guess when we put points, he should get another 30%, I think. So, probably get him to around 14k, 15k maybe. Depending on which points are assigned to him, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, regardless of what HP he has, he's having absolutely no trouble at dealing with Dungrat and is healing at the same time, while the rest of his army continues wrecking face all over the place. The fact that we now have healing due to that Locus of Fecundity makes sure that we have no issue in dealing with the enemy, and at the same time with not taking too much damage ourselves. And, okay, this guy's not nearly dead. I thought I had to look back to make sure that we didn't miss his death animation. But anyway, since this is a Dragon Ogre siege, it's not tactically particularly interesting because we've taken our Death Star formation. So we're just going to bonk away in said Death Star until we're good. Looks like a couple more hits from Kholek. We'll see the Exalted Great and Clean One fall. And Kholek can make sure to land those. I do like it when he fights with that chain lightning effect overhead. Feels nice and invigorated. And there we go, finally, Dungrat goes down after a relatively lengthy duel. And Kholek it just decides to put his maul, put Star Crusher through the fallen Great Unclean One's gut, and just because he can. But anyway, there's still other Nurglite units to take care of. The enemy army has not broken. We're going to drop a Searing Doom down upon the Marauders and the Plague Toads. Plague Toads, I wonder how effective they are in SFO. I remember being quite unhappy with the unit in vanilla. But I'd be interested to see their effectiveness here. Or probably more so the Pox Riders than the regular Plague Toads. Most likely it's just a good source of lethal toxin more than anything else. But anyway, for a very slow army, generally speaking, like the Nurgle army, they can come in handy. Though on the other hand, when you have plague drones, that's I'm not sure so useful. Anyway, it looks like an enemy Exalted Hero has moved in to play a little bit, but there is a Shaggoth ready to face off against them, and actually, wait, are these a regular Dragon? Yeah, no, that's a Shaggoth. There's a Shaggoth and a regular Dragon Ogres, as well as a Manticore and Trolls, and oh my lord, everybody's sighted the poor Exalted Hero, and, and are on the approach. Alright, run your little chariot away, though I don't know whether you can run fast enough, because you will die here anyway. as soon as we break the settlement and take it for ourselves. Good job to the forces of Nurgle for holding this long, though funnily enough it's given us time to remain in the blob and continue our healing ways and keep everybody nice and healthy. We did take some damage when we originally made our way through the breach, but have since then recovered it all with those loci of fecundity. Very nice, and we're also keeping our manticores around in the blob rather than flying around overhead. I suppose we could have peeled them away to go after towers or something like that, but at the same time, I don't see any towers, so I guess there wasn't really any need. Anyway, and just target each individual unit that remains now, one by one, until they all fall. There's a Nurgling unit in the way, but we can by and large just ignore them, as they will either get trampled as we head onward towards the next unit, or they will fade away or melt away as soon as the rest of the army breaks. Anyway, another unit of Pox Riders makes their way in to try to hold us off, but Dragon Ogres versus Pox Riders or Plague Toads is a horrifically bad matchup. Once again, I remember when I was playing Nakari and getting a Heartseeker unit to charge a Pox Rider unit, and the Pox Rider unit would just melt with 0 damage taken by the Heartseekers, and the Pox Rider just died basically instantly. And yeah, I know that there's a disparity in a unit quality there, but nonetheless. But I haven't seen them in SFO yet. Yeah, most of you probably don't remember, I did try to do a Kugath campaign at one point, but unfortunately it was one of the few campaigns that did get corrupted by patches not lining up, unfortunately, about midway through. Which is a bit of a shame, but it does mean we'll get to eventually do a redo. Once it gets voted on, of course. Anyway, it looks like the Nurglites are still holding, quite impressive, and I think this has certainly earned their space as our vassal and not destroyed. We will take their Dark Fortress for ourselves, of course, but yeah, we'll keep the faction around. They'll give us buffs and access to at least a few Nurgle units. If nothing else, if we want to make an army that's very Plague Bearer focused, we'll be able to acquire like 10 Plague Bearers in a single force, which will be pretty solid. Assuming, of course, we don't need War Shrines or Great Unclean Ones or anything of that nature. Anyway, enemy is still holding, even with the balance of power at about 90% in our favor. Alright, well, like I said, every single unit needs to be destroyed one by one, and it looks like that remains. The case leadership is down to only 22 on these Plague Bearers, so they should start melting away soon, especially with those big ol' axes from the Shaggots quacking away, and Kolek sort of towering over in the background. Yeah, just being menacing generally, as he tends to be. Also, poison, huh? I'm surprised more of the Nurgle units aren't immune to poison. We can just poison them all, which really hurts their speed, which is already slow. These Plague Bearers move at 17. Damn, that is incredibly slow. Oh, because they have Bone Crusher on them as well as poison, eh? From the Shaggots. It is another reason to get more Shaggots in the army as well, because Bone Crusher will be applied to everybody. Anyway, I think with that, the battle is pretty much done. There are a few units that remain, but they're all melting away, and it's just a matter of chasing them down one by one. But I think that's not particularly interesting, so we can do the rest off screen. Alright, well, let's be honest, that one was never really going to be any kind of problem whatsoever, especially since the advent of the Exalted Hero of Nurgle. That locus of fecundity on the Death Star just adds so much. And once we have Glittering Robe available from the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal, it'll be even stronger. I'd love another Exalted Hero in this army, but alas, I just don't think we'll ever get enough capacity to get them, and I want an Exalted Hero in almost every army, so we're going to have to forego it and use a War Shrine of Nurgle instead. We'll obviously occupy the place because it is a Dark Fortress. We'll take it at tier 3, which ain't too bad. And got a free Hellfire Sword for trouble, probably for one of the Khornate armies. Got to put a Filth Mace in one of the Nurgle armies as well, since we did get one, I think, a couple of episodes ago. Vassal Emissary for you. We can immediately go for the, I guess, Thralls building, and while we do want more Sorcerer, I'm actually tempted to get the Exalted Hero building here. You know what, let's do that. Thing is, I want Valkia to get an Exalted Hero, because it's going to take her a while to level up to Blood Crushers, or Skull Crushers rather, not Blood Crushers. I'm not sure it's going to be possible to get Blood Crushers, or at least in any significant numbers, but yeah. Anyway, Kuchar, you're going to take Wily Village real quick, though we will do two things here. Kuchar, you are going to go into regular stance, and you are going to attack it. Occupied. We'll probably have to briefly trade. Actually, maybe we won't. Wait, let me just think about this. This isn't really worth fighting. I don't think so. We've had much tougher fights here, and one thing I do want to check, though. Wait. Oh, you're not able to go to... Oh, well, that's a little bit annoying. Okay, go here. I wanted to put them into Kuchar's army immediately. I was wondering whether Daretalk would be able to move in and attack us, but by the looks of it, he can't, so we'll be able to heal up anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'll resolve this, a little bit of damage, maybe a little bit of damage, but whatever. And we are not subjugating, we are occupying. Like so. Free Obsidian Amulet, and hey, a free Barbarian. We wanted those in... Oh! Kuchar, you didn't have a Norse Berserker for the extra campaign movement range? My bad, buddy, my bad, I didn't realize that. Valmir, you don't need anything. As in any items, because we'll be deleting you shortly. You only serve as a recruiter here. And, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That did hurt. Well, I guess it depends on whether we can reach Daretalk and the Jungles of Qian next turn or not. It'd be kind of ironic for the Jungles of Tzeentch to be taken by Khorne, but anyway. Or at least Tzeentch wouldn't appreciate it, and Khorne probably would. Marauders, we're going to take out even you. Replace them with 2 Blood Shrines, and the Blood Shrines buff is fantastic at high levels, and I think it works with the theme of the Blood Hunt here. Most of the army can move really quick. Obviously the Chaos Warriors can't, but I probably don't feel like replacing them all with Knights. They've been here for a long time, and this is probably the only army where we'll have Halberdier wielders. Or Halberdier wielders. I just imagine like Kolek or a Demon Prince picking up a halberdier and just whacking people with the halberdier. Hey, if it works, people. Anyway, I hate to delete high-level Chaos Warriors, but I think we're gonna have to. Also, you're not quite ready to go to Chosen levels, but you will be soon. You two. We'll have to delete one of you if we make you into a... Well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, fine. We'll build it. If we're not putting a sorcerer into Valkia's army, we'll put it in Kuchar's army. Plus, he can sort of support on a Manticore. He doesn't have to be on the War Shrine. And that'll sort of work with the whole beast thing that we've got going here in the Blood Hunt. Beasts and fast movers in general. Gore beast chariots as well. Yeah, fine. We'll do it that way. So, what that means is we're going to make the... Let's say the Lethal Company into Chaos Warriors of Khorne with halberds. We'll just keep the Cornflakes and the Khorne's Chosen as the 2 units of Chosen with the dual axes in this army to mince infantry as needed. And then we'll either delete you or trade you to Valmir. I'm just wondering whether it's worth keeping them to get another Khornate army out here, but I think it's probably too far from the rest, so I think we're not going to bother. Goodbye. Hate to waste the veterans, but what can you do? And do that, and you go, and the Sorcerer will complete the army, more or less. Minus these guys being turned into Chosen. Eventually. They don't have enough veterancy. Too bad we couldn't transfer the veterancy over somehow. Make them eat their hearts or something. I hear that works. Anyway, Jaeger, you don't need to move. Valkia, you are now in range, though I fear you're not close enough in range to actually... wait. Is this worth fighting? Eldar Spire barely has anything in it. Let's see what the auto-resolve says on this. Close victory, medium casualties. Oh, wow, you have a lot of stuff. How do we do this? I think the Knights of the Brazen Throne should get the Lichbone Pennant, maximize their damage. We'll obviously put the Razor Standard on one of the Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual axes. Banner of Rage could probably go to Valkia herself, and the War Banner. Leadership and Weapon Strength, again, without range damage, not super useful here. Put it on one of these guys. Actually, the weapon strength is probably something that these guys would benefit more from. This would give us magical day. Okay, fine. I'd switch that around. Do that to you and do that to you. There we go.
Spill blood for Khorne.
As to whether this battle is worth fighting, I feel like it isn't. I feel like we can do, or we can find better. Also, just out of curiosity, I wanted to see whether Marauders could be turned into Marauder Horsemen, but alas, no. We need to get more of these guys in here to get those Blood Crushers, but alas. I think we'll auto-resolve and wait for Valkia's debut for next episode.
For the blood.
Wasn't too bad in terms of damage, so we'll be fine. And we will sack and occupy. We're going to trade it to our Norse Canals, and hey, a Talisman of Preservation. That certainly made it worth the effort.
Skulls for the Skull Throne.
Occupy, and I'm hoping that you can reach Dreckless Spire next round, and I think you can. Beautiful. Well done, Valkia. Ooh, we should also get you... we got the Bringer of Glory, but alas, we don't have the Queen of Schwarzwolf as yet. We'll need that ASAP to get that Vanguard deployment for those Chaos Warriors. I guess the battle, then, that we will be taking will be this battle. Azazel versus Mr. Malekith. And you know what? This is... a much better contest, I think. Much better defenders, a much stronger enemy lord. Away we go.
So many creatures, so eager to die. And I am a generous prince.
Alrighty, here we go again. Malekith's last stand, most likely the last time we'll see him, as his faction will be done before the enemy is able to revive. So now we just got to make sure that we bring him down here. Should be good. Anyway, the enemy does have a fair few amount of defenders, though once again it looks like we do manage to pull off this combo. We pop the Shatterstone to break through the enemy wall, and then the unit that was up on top of the wall when hit by Shatterstone, in this particular case a unit of Hargonath Executioners, is down to half HP, which allows us to immediately summon Chaos Spawn within the enemy settlement. Pretty darn effective, I should say. On top of that, we've sent in Azazel and his Manticore friend to, or Exalted Hero riding Manticore, to hunt down the Death Hag and deal with the Dark Shards up here while we enter the enemy settlement. And because of the reduction to the speed on reinforcement, Mr. Siggy is already on the field and already booking it real quick towards whatever it is that he can find. There we go. We're going to make another breach in the wall here, and we're going to send them all in to the fray as well. Also, this Dark Elf City looking pretty fantastic as well, in my opinion. It's an episode of great looking architecture with the Dark Elven and the Chaos Dwarf stuff. A little bit overly spiky, perhaps, on both, but hey. Everybody likes spikes. Alrighty, and in we go. What the Forsaken being summoned together with the unit of Spawn of Slaanesh to get a few more of those units on the field as we enter the enemy city, or at least make a nice breach. The Marquis here is once again right in the middle of the fray, though we do once again have to be careful with him. He does have a tendency to peel away from the rest of the forces and then start getting surrounded and take damage. That said, it always does plenty of damage as well. Alright, looks like the enemy shades and it looks like some handbows as well are going to target the Marquis. Gotta watch out for that, as the anti-large damage from the Corsairs with handbows is certainly going to be a threat to it. Out here we have found Malekith and already beaten him down to about 20% HP with both Siggy and Azazel together. Azazel casting his Lashes of Slaanesh while Malekith tries to hit back with Chill Winds, but once again he's got a chariot, and now he's got nothing. There we go. All he can hope is to survive as one of our vassals. Another Lash of Slaanesh moves in, and... that was weird. Might have been an issue with the animation, or it might have been that the battle is different than when I actually played it. It looks very similar, though. Or at the very least, it looks similar enough as to make not much of a difference. Either way, continue making our way through the fray. Azazel and Siggy working together, being held up by some Blackguard of Naggrund. And we even have our sorcerers here as well, and wow, that's a lot of Blackguard of Naggrund. You gotta be careful, Azazel, though luckily he at least has the Temptator ability, and plenty of splash damage on him. Although he is more fragile than Sigvald, he also does more splash damage, I would imagine. And especially with all the, at least it looks like it with all of those animations of his. Plus he can keep on casting it. Hey, the Marquis moves in to join the fray as well. I mean, these are our three best / most expensive units in these armies, so I might as well watch them fight together for a little bit. And a little bit of help from the Exalted Hero, or one of the Exalted Heroes, and one of the Sorcerers as well. It will, of course, take some time to break through all these Blackguard of Naggrund, but we've got Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh here, and they are starting to suffer, and by they, I mean the Blackguard. Sigvald finally peels away to try to lead this portion of the battlefield. We've also got some Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh with sword and board, I believe, climbing the walls, mostly to try to get around the enemies here, blocking the blob. And yeah, some of the units are heading back. It does seem like perhaps that this battle is very slightly different from when I played it. But yeah, periodically there does appear to be, there does periodically appear to be bugs in the siege battles. Oh well, not a big deal. The battle was just about over anyway. We had a few more units to clear out, but only, what, 1, 2, 3-ish units left here. A couple more over there, though some of them were just rallying after being destroyed already. And yeah, there we go. And it says Naggrund Pyrrhic victory, but obviously that was not the case. Sorry, we couldn't quite see the last, I don't know, minute or so of the battle, but it happens with these occasionally, and at least the other two sieges worked perfectly. Alright, there we go. Plenty of cash for our trouble, at least post-battle loot-wise, and another Lichbone Pennant. As a reward, a little bit of damage to the single entities, but otherwise it was no problem at all. And once again, poor Malekith on that chariot. Although he did do decent damage at nearly 12k, probably with his spells, and not with the chariot, as he was hunted down, and by Azazel and Siggy. Azazel massively outdoing Siggy in terms of damage because of those repeated Lashes of Slaanesh, and sadly we didn't really get to use our chariots, but well, that's hardly surprising in a settlement siege. Anyway, we may want to sack it. I mean, we're certainly racking up the cash, but well, we'll still want to make good use of it. And I thought neither one of them could recapture it, which would have been annoying, but we're looking okay. And okay, you go after this. I didn't realize there was a lord running this way. Don't want it to capture one of these barely defended locations. And hey, it's free XP for a Jaeger after all, so we'll sacrifice captives. I guess it doesn't really matter. Alright, fire army. Well, it'll need a little bit more fire, but we're working on it. Featherfoot Torque, which you probably won't need. Let's capture Hag Grieve here. Occupy like so, and I guess we'll have to make the decision as to whether we complete the destruction of Naggrund or whether we try to vassalize them next time. I mean, trading them back like 10 territories might make them like us okayly. I don't know, though. There's a lot of negatives to this. As in, he really doesn't like us, but it would be a rich vassal if we can make it work, so not 100% sure. I mean, we could try it again. It probably won't make much of a difference either way. I didn't manage to make it work in Village's campaign. That doesn't necessarily mean it won't work here. But anyway, we'll have to make that decision next time as we out of time, and I'm gonna call this episode here. Archaon will begin his crossing of the Northern World's Edge Mountains finally, now that the Darklands and all the Northern Chaos Wastes serve him, and he has all the treasures of Chaos. It's time to bring death, the true death, to the Empire of Undeath as the vampires own it. We'll also have to soon get armies moving southward into these territories. We got Illustria to do, we've got to head towards Bellicor and eventually Festus as well within 5 turns, well 15 turns, but yeah, we gotta collect all the Pokemon before we end this campaign. Still a whiles to go, especially as long as interest remains, so don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. Stay tuned for more Archie. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.